Assalamualaikum guys. How are we doing this morning? Today we have Zain Farooq. He's the founder and CEO for a fintech company, MyTM, which is located in Lahore. Apart from his, from his whole background, he has something really, which charmed up the whole session was that he has entire background in medical industry. And although he is pursuing his career in fintech, I mean, that's really interesting. And we have lots of questions that we're going to ask from him that how MBBS guy landed into the fintech industry. So Zan, over to you. If you could, just tell us about a short background about yourself, how your MBBS led you to your fintech company. These are not, one is the North Pole and the one is the South Pole. So how did this happen? How did this charisma ever happen to place?
Thank you, Shabazz, for having me today at your podcast. I have spent most of my life in China. I moved after I did my pre-medical from Government College University in Lahore. I moved to China to pursue my studies in medicine. After doing the graduation, I came back to Pakistan. I was working in Mayo Hospital for a year. Then I went back for my master's in oncology, and then I was offered a job in WHO, and that gave me a chance to work in China, Japan, Thailand. Apart from the cultural drift that was there was a very big technological drift that I went through. I remember the first time, it was 2011 when WeChat showed up, and the ecosystem is something that was concentrated on more. It's never just about the payment interface that we are looking at. People say that the products in Pakistan are far below standard than in any other country. It's not that. I think it's particularly an ecosystem, because as a founder, when you say that how I shifted from medicine to, if I say I shifted from medicine into fintech, it was somehow it was exciting, because you're helping people out in a very different way. I've seen the thing basically started with was that we used to have a lot of suicide cases when we were working in Japan, of course, and we were working in China. And most of the time, the reason is lack of money. So that's where you get connected. Another reason, of course, for leaving the medicine and coming into the fintech was that as a medical professional, I was never very happy of like that. I thought I was not making enough. Even though it's a very respectable job, it's a very respectable salary, but then most of the entrepreneurs are not just after, not just think that I've met a lot of entrepreneurs. They are not just after the problem. They're also making sure that they're taking on a financial risk to make sure that, there's profit, because that's what that's the essence of entrepreneurship. That somebody takes on a financial risk in the hope for profit. So if I say that I did not want to profit out of it, of course, then it would have been, it would have been very musky. So what I mostly think is that the drift from culture and also the technology drift that I went through in China was amazing. And I think that was something I wanted to embrace for the rest of the years I have.
Okay, so this is how you landed to the fintech industry, right? So,
yes.
Suzanne, tell me about what is MyTM? I mean, what's the problem you're looking at, and what's the solution that MyTM is giving away to its customers?
Okay, so basically, MyTM is basically comes out from the word MyTM. It's like from the word ATM, I can say. So it's like an automated teller machine. So this is like my teller machine. So it tells you numbers. The problem that we're looking for, like we're trying to solve, is that we're trying to create access to finance for a common man. Now, for a common man, when we talk about a common man, we talk about the adult population, people who are between the age of 18 and 60. And then Pakistan is the 5th largest younger population in the world, 3rd largest youngest population in the world. And that's like 11.9 million. More than 11.9. It's like 110 million people. I was, that's 110 million people. Now that's a lot of people. And most of them are unbanked. You can say 80 million are unbanked. So the digital transformation has been very fast, but then there's a monopoly that you see. Most of the foreign companies there in Pakistan, and mostly the telcos are coming in, and they're making sure that they're using the mobile network to engage people. But I see a lot of fintechs now coming in. Pakistan is home to over 20 fintechs. We talk about India in comparison, they are home to over 452 fintechs. Yet nobody's able to reach the tier 3 and tier 4 areas. So it's kind of a scattered market, and then most of the concentration is on the urban population. So what MyTM is doing is that we are trying to create and complement a system where we have omnipresence. If you are our customer, if you want to be our customer, you don't need to download our app. If you download our app, you can basically then apply for different kind of financial services in the long run. For example, buy now, pay later, mobile payments, bill payments, cash ins, cash outs, account opening. Otherwise, we will just be using your mobile phone or your ID card number for you to conduct a transaction at a shop front even. So at a shop front, you can buy bus tickets, air tickets, railway tickets, and that's where we started from. So you can say it's a combo of commerce services, banking services, and in the long run, financial services. For the banking services, we have NRSP Bank. It's located in Bahawalpur. It's a commissioned bank by the government of Pakistan. And we're very thankful that they are allowing us to use their backend. And also, you can say they're giving us a white label solution. We're building our technology on the core banking system. So you can say that all the customers that we bring in are basically the customers of the bank, but they go through us. So we are kind of their super handler.
Oh, that's really impressive. I mean, Pakistan is really, started to work on fintech industry. It's quite impressive that we have huge sectors who are working on fintech. I mean, we have Marin Sari, the Abhi.com,
Yes.
right? Yeah, they're also working on this one. I mean, I'm really impressed by how fintech industry is growing in Pakistan. Okay, so Zain, tell me about it. I mean, how did this idea came into it? What was the opportunity that popped this idea in your head that this is going to be a way through? I mean, you're going to put this all in and then create something.
Okay, so to be honest, it's we started thinking about this in 2015. That's way back. I have a lot of people in the founding team that we have in MyTM. And it was all about consistency, because we actually never thought that there will be a stage where we will be able to raise funding and we will be able to go forward, because we are all professionals. Like, my co-founders and the founding team members, some of them are from the banking background, some of them are from the IT background. So we were always thinking that, maybe there might be a chance that we'll have a big breakthrough. There was a belief, of course. We have pivoted multiple times. But if you say about like a particular idea, how we came up with it, it was very simple. We were very much impressed by WeChat in China, Alipay, Paytm came up from in India. And then, of course, Jazz Cash and EasyPressa was already working. SimSim was working in Pakistan. So there was a lot happening around and in the country. And we thought that we can be like, a part of it, because it was changing people's lives. And then it was something exciting, something to do with money. That there is always a concept that some people like money, some people like to make money. So we concentrated more on the making part. But once we jump into this, we realized that though it is very exciting, you are playing on very narrow margins. When you talk about banks and when you talk about fintechs, banks have a lot of ways to make money. And then, the financial institution license costs billions. Whereas a microfinance institution license will, I will not say a microfinance institution, I will say an EMI, electronic money institution, will cost millions. So the difference was there. And then the limitations were there as well. It all comes down to the customer base. How can you develop the business, and then how you can play with like 0.4%, 0.3% margin on each transaction. So the business was something that was very different. Whereas the excitement, like, if I talk about financial inclusion, I talk about women empowerment, that's very different. That's where people say that, fundings can be raised easily and then, you can go forward with it. We don't have a female founding partner, but of course we do have a lot of women who are working in the company, because we never wanted to get biased. So the idea was always to provide service to a common man who is looking for sending money home or receiving money. And he doesn't want to go through all the hassle of downloading an app and being independent. Because I'll give you a very small example. It will just take a minute. You pay your electricity bills, right? How will you prove that you paid it?
That slip, the transaction slip that we get at the end of transaction.
From your account, yes. How about the person who's working in your house who doesn't have a bank account? How will he prove? Of course, the bill is paid, but how will he prove that he paid that bill?
He might, get the transaction receipt after he has
Of
made
course, he will get the transaction receipt, but how will we know that this bill particularly was paid by him? If it, for example, you're living in you're living in a rented house and you're paying an electricity bill, but how will you prove that you paid it if you don't have an account? How will you pay it? And also to prove that he's capable of paying, that he gets his salary. Because in the eyes of the bank, he's nobody. You see, they will go to the loan sharks and they will say, I need 10,000 or 15,000. Nobody will get money. Even if somebody gives, they will charge them an interest rate of 100 to 200%. Whereas a bank is charging 36%. So the mentality was there that it's still there actually, that banks means interest. So financing options are limited. Go for a small shopkeeper. Most of people don't want to disclose their sales. But this is only a dilemma that we hear about. But when I went to the shops myself and the team went to the shops, it is not as bad as it sounds. Because shopkeepers, they want to do business. Of course, they have to run their houses. So the SMEs are actually much more in serving the community. They're also trying to make sure that they increase their sales. That's where we complement them. So in the future, get through the underwriting engines in our system, we are able to offer them credit. And that is what we are working on. But to offer credit officially as a fintech, I need to be registered as a non-banking financial company. And that takes time. That's why I said in the long run, because we're already in the process of it. We're trying to acquire a non-banking financial company. We're already bringing in the banking services. It's slow, of course, because there are a lot of regulations that we have to go through. But we are launching with commerce services by the end of this week. We already had those, but now we're expanding it. And for the banking services, we will be launching by the start of next week at the shop fronts.
Oh, that's really so impressive. And, that's really extensive strategy that you have implemented, for catering everybody, not just individuals, but also businesses. This is what, makes fintech so popular these days. Okay, so Zain, I had a few questions. One of my colleagues, they came up with the question that, what's the purpose that, fintech industry is growing excessively in terms of money making and money lending as compared to any other industry in Pakistan? Either it's an automobile industry, either it's a medical industry, etc., etc. What makes fintech so popular as compared to the rest of the industries?
Okay, you see, first of all, we'll have to understand that fintechs have 13 different divisions. Lending is one part of it. If you talk about like what MyTM deals in right now, we deal in digital payments only. Then, there's personal financial management. You have solutions for P2P, P2C, you have solutions like SaaS solutions. Lending is the most profitable. I'll give you an example. Let's suppose you have rent-a-car business, right? So you invest maybe 3 million rupees, or let's say $15,000 or $20,000. How much can you make per day on the car?
It might be like 2%, 3%.
Yeah, but like if I talk about in monetary terms per day, how much will you make? If
I
it's
don't
a
know.
$30,000, if it's $20,000 car, how much can you rent it out for every day? I'm just asking for a ballpark figure.
It might be like $500, $600 for this,
A month?
maybe.
Yes. Okay. So in Pakistan, let's say if it's $20,000, you can actually rent that car out for approximately $500 to $600, as you said. Even $400, like it depends.
Hmm.
But that's like for a month. Now multiply that by 12, it's around $4,000 to $5,000. Yes. Now let's say a $20,000, $4,000 to $5,000. How much is the return?
And I don't think it's even 10% of it.
Nah, it's more. You see, if it's $20,000 and you're making $4,000 on top, it's 20%. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but then of course you'll have to reinvest back on it. That for example, the tires have to change. They're going to be wear and
Maintenance.
tear and all that. Yeah, maintenance. Okay, now with the money part, the state bank is offering what? The state bank says you fix the money with me, 100,000, for example, and I am going to give you 12 to 14% a year. So you're making that 8% extra, right? Because you don't want to get the interest. You want to make sure that you earn your money by rotation of business. And then of course your money is not fixed, so you can always have a cash flow. Financing, on the other part, is a very funny game, because here you can make up to 45% a month. Now I'll explain you how. Imagine that you are a shopkeeper and you are selling mobile top-ups. Yes. So I'll ask Shebaz that, okay, invest 10,000 with us, rupees. Invest 10,000 with us. And if you're able to sell 10,000 worth of airtime at your shop front to your customers every day, I'll give you 150, because that's what you make. You make 1.5%. The next day, you're going to put that 10,000 back with me and you're going to sell that airtime. Now, in 30 days, you can make 4,500. You multiply that by 12. You have invested 10,000 rupees and you have made more than 50,000 in a year on that 10,000.
Exactly.
That's where the financing comes in. Now, what if I am offering you I'm offering you financing? For example, you pay your electricity bills of 10,000 per month, suppose. And I say, Shebaz, I know your salary is going to come on the 10th. Today is the 25th. So you pay me 150 rupees on top, and I will pay you your bill today. So when your salary comes on the 10th, you can give it back to me. Or on the 10th, I will call Shebaz again and say, Shebaz, you don't need to pay me back all the money. You can actually make installments. So instead of 10,000, give me 5,000. I'm going to charge you 100 more. So you see, what I'm doing is that I'm selling you money. So on 10,000, I can make 200 in 20 days. That's good money, because the product is money, and the state bank gives you this as a non-banking finance. 100,000 to someone, you can from that person, whereas the loan sharks are charging twice or thrice, and also for years. So that's why the lending business is a good business.
Oh, I see. This is the whole, it's the whole game of, fintech gurus who are, trying to put those things in. I mean, it's really complicated, but yeah, if you have the grip of it, if you have the understanding of it, how 1% people are making this work for the 99% of people, this is how they technically make more money out of it.
Yes.
So another question is that, if someone who has, no knowledge of what fintech is, or no knowledge of how banking sector works, or how MyTM works, what's the one thing that he has to know, just the one thing he has to know to create a fintech business?
Okay, so that's a very good question. It's a good question, but it cannot be answered in like one sentence, but I'll try to do that. what's the one thing that you should know is that you should understand financial management. If you understand financial management, this is totally, it's totally possible to Fintech is all about financial management. How well can you manage or enable one of your customers to manage themselves? A solution, if you're providing, but we would like to know how many. So the value addition.
It was getting really interesting.
Yeah, so I said like it's one single thing that matters the most is financial management, and then the customer would like to know what kind of value addition you're giving to him. I think like technically, if we say that how tech is enabling our lives, tech is basically making us realize what we need, and we don't know we need it until we have it. And this is the same way that what is Shebaz worth right now? How much money does Shebaz, you can say, manage every month? Maybe you might have an idea, but you're not exact about it. And then how much are you saving? How much can you do with that money? For example, in summers, I can offer you to buy an air conditioner because I can see that you are paying electricity bills lesser than the other customers that I have. Or in winters, I say that okay, now he's paying lower amounts in electricity bills, so let's offer Shebaz a new mobile phone because now he's saving 10,000-20,000 a month. So that's where the AI and ML works. And this is also part of the financial inclusion system, that you're cross-selling. Once I have a customer, I'll sell him everything from ice cream to a car. And that's what fintechs are trying to do. That's what e-commerce players are trying to do. It is about cross-selling. But then again, the only fact is how much do you trust the platform? Because ultimately, if you have to buy anything, you want to make sure that if you are sending the money, it's well received. If you want to refund, you get the money as fast as possible. Because going out, if you're sending the money out, it's pretty fast. But when it's coming back, everybody's like 7 days, 14 days. And that's frustration. That's frustration. And that's what we do at a B2B level. That if somebody is asking for a refund, we make sure that the problem is solved within 24 hours, and that's like the worst of the problems. Usually our drawdown time is 15 minutes to somewhere like 2 hours. We don't want to go for more than that, because the main aim has to be real-time transactions. And to enable that, we work with pre-funded accounts. So we don't wait for the customer's money to reach us physically. We use our money to, buy or like you conduct a service that they have done at a shopfront. For example, you're giving cash at a shopfront and you're saying, pay my electricity bill. So of course, the shopkeeper is keeping the money with him. It's cash, so it's not going to reach us it's going to reach us tomorrow probably. So that's where we need a lot of pre-funded accounts. So that's where we make money also. That on the services, let's say on paying an electricity bill, we maybe make 5 rupees or 6 rupees, no matter it's 50,000 or 100,000 rupees worth of electricity bill. That's how much you make only. But then these small transactions matter, because ultimately, even if it's worth 100,000, we are not losing 100,000. We are earning 5 on top of it. So if you're in positive in some way in digital payments, you will survive. You cannot offer discounts. People are offering cashbacks. Cashbacks are something that are short-lived. You'll download the app, you'll take a cashback, and then you'll delete it. Similarly, you'll get a pizza, you'll take the offer and you'll delete it. It's not part of your life. You have to make it as a part of your life. And then how do you gamify the process? That's where the key is. And I think we are also striving for that. And we're looking at a lot of players in fintechs are striving for that. And I am sure that somebody will come up with a solution along with what we are trying to do as well. Because again, idea is not, it's not about the idea, it's about the implementation.
Okay, so Zain, just one last thing. What's one favorite quote that have inspired you to do that has allowed you to take such big step?
Okay, so you see that there's something that I always try to remember when we are, demotivated. And that one particular part is that you need to be exemplary yourself rather than looking at examples around you. And for that alone, you have to have faith in something that you're already doing. You see, I follow a lot of, if you say about one quote, I think there's going to be like a lot of people that I read. I follow Rumi, I follow Gary Vee, I follow Elon Musk, I follow Warren Buffett, and also like Reid Hoffman. I read all these people. And what I see is that all of them are trying to, even Steve Harvey, I talk about local entrepreneurs, they are all trying to give you one message, that the secret to life is that you have to wait. How many days, if you say one quote, how many days you're successful if only you can see that how many days can you show up motivated, that things are going to change. It's a part of your life. It is going to change. Of course, there's a lot of frustration. I'm a very aggressive person. I fight a lot. I have a lot of stress. I have sleepless nights. You're full of anger all the time and aggression, and you throw it out on the very on that circle that you have around you. You can't put it out in public. The public knows about it, but they never see you in that mode all the time. And that's what you need to make sure of, that time is something that is going to, you'll have to spend it before something solid comes up. And of course, those times when you say about times, it's not easy times all the time. Most of the time it's easy. And entrepreneurs have to have that feeling of going slow and steady, because it's a process. It has to go through a process. Some people are like 6 months, you'll be an entrepreneur and all that. Yes, there are lucky people. But not everyone. Even in a cricket team or in a football team, there are few front players or defenders who make their name very fast. But yeah, so the quote is like, how many days can you show up without failing, or how long can you be consistent at failure? By failure, I will not say that by failure, I will say that you will feel that nothing is happening, nothing significant is happening. And then ultimately something significant will happen, because that's what nature is bound to do, because this will happen. You cannot avoid it. And the nature, it becomes helpless. It has to follow what you're looking for. It has to give you what you're looking for. And we have seen numerous examples. So I think that's the secret, where you have to be consistent. If you're not lucky, you are still you're working hard. So hard work wins if talent doesn't work hard. And this is where you have to believe on it. It might sound very nice, but you have to believe on it, and you have to make sure that a day will come, and you have bad days. We have mostly bad days. So you can say in the whole 3 years or 5 years that we have been working, I think there have been only 2 or 3 days where we were celebrating that, okay, we have disclosed, we have secured an investment, or we have launched a product. But apart from that, it has never been smooth. It never is smooth, because there are a lot of people that you have to take responsibility for, their families, the working environment, and you cannot be perfect at all of it. And then, of course, you have to rebuild yourself mentally. So it's more about how to make sure that teams can work rather than what teams are doing. So that's where you come into. You have to go from macro management, and then you have to go into micromanagement again. If you don't, you are going to lose your business.
Exactly. Okay, so Zain, thank you so much for coming and sharing the expertise you have, the vast knowledge you have in the fintech industry and the medical industry as well. I mean, you guys are really, uh, you know, making the fintech industry a lot easier for B2B people and for the people who are in the C2C industry as well. I wish you good luck with all the ability you have. I mean, the passion does not have to end up anyway. It has to be boosted. It has to be motivated. So Zain, thank you so much. Extremely, we're honored to have you. We are also looking forward to one of our digitization summit, which is gonna take place from 2 months from now. You guys are invited to it. I mean, it's a whole, working on blockchain, cryptos, real estate, and working on this. So yeah, there's gonna be a real future in Pakistan, inshallah, once it starts to kick in. And Zen, thank you so much once again for coming at the show. I mean, most of the questions are catered. I have still so many things to say, but goodbyes on forever. We're gonna meet up, inshallah, once more in lots of shows that are gonna come in the future.
Thank you very much, Shabazz, for having me, and wish everyone the best of luck, and also you who's striving hard. And because I know that even that conducting these podcasts are not easy, because you have to be very patient, you have to listen, and then you have to analyze. It's not easy. And I thank you for your patience as well. So we'll see each other soon, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah.